What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It with your host, Bando. I am back because this weekend is UFC 298, a massive card headlined by Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria going up for the featherweight championship. Can Volk defend it against Ilia Topuria, which is a person that a lot of people are starting to push as the guy. He's the one. Can he be the one to stop Volkanovski's reign at 145? Let's talk about it. Let's break UFC 298 down. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Alright, so you already know how I rock. I'm going straight to the main card for UFC 298. So let's jump right into the shit. We got Anthony Hernandez going up against Roman Kopylov, right? Great matchup. Wasn't the original matchup. Was supposed to be Anthony Hernandez versus Ikram Aliskirov. Unfortunately, he had to pull out due to whatever issue, whatever injury, whatever problem it ended up being. And Roman Kopylov has stepped up on slightly short notice, not crazy short notice, but it's short notice. You got Anthony Hernandez, who's 11-2, and you got Roman Kopylov, who I think is 12-2. Let me see if I got that right. Yeah, he's 12-2. So Anthony Hernandez's last win was a KO TKO over Edmund Shabazian, and Roman Kopylov's last win was a KO over Josh Friend. And both of these guys, I've noticed, man, they're both really good strikers, right? I would say striking edge is going to go to Roman. I think power goes to Roman. I think the man's got more punch and he's got more pop in his punches. He's got very good kickboxing skill, but he also has a good grappling. He's got good grappling defense and stuff like that. But I think his stand up is what can pose the biggest threat in this matchup and his power. Now the thing with Anthony Hernandez is he has a phenomenal jiu-jitsu game. He has a phenomenal jiu-jitsu game, and he's pretty slick on the feet. He's got enough on the feet to be able to mix it up and keep you guessing, right? And I think that's his best bet of getting the victory on Saturday night is to keep Roman Kopylov guessing. And I feel for Roman's just got to keep the pressure on him, go at him, keep the striking, keep the fight standing up. Overall, you got to look at it as it's a striker versus grappler type of situation. Even though Anthony Hernandez has good stand-up, that grappling is where the threat is at. If he can get this fight to the ground, it could be a big problem for Roman Kopylov. But my prediction, I'm going with Roman Kopylov. He is an underdog. He is a plus 210 underdog. So he's a plus 210 underdog. I understand coming in on short notice against a guy like Anthony Hernandez. I mean, that's not an easy fight to come in against. So next fight on the main card is probably one of the more important, if not one of the most important, 135-pound matchups that we have between Merab Dvalishvili and Henry Cejudo. Now, everybody knows who Henry is, and obviously people know who Merab is, right? Merab's a growing star. Last win was against Petr Yan. He dominated. He did his thing. It wasn't like a domination. He shot 30-something times, or 40-something times, and Piotr defended like 30-something of them. But it was, he got the win. Henry Cejudo's last win was back against Dominic Cruz back during COVID. So Henry needs a win, major. But this matchup is huge, right? It really is, because stylistically, you would look at them as not evenly matched in terms of like what they done, but like style wise, they have a very close and a very similar style with everything they do. The pressure wrestling, the power striking. In my opinion, though, Henry is better in every aspect. I think Henry is a better wrestler. We know this from not only Henry just being an Olympic wrestler, him being able to take down guys in the divisions that he was in 125, being able to take down Mighty Mouse and control Mighty Mouse, to be able to go to 135, take down Dominic Cruz, control him, take down Marlon Moraes at will when he wanted to. He didn't have to put much work into that. He was still getting Aljamain Sterling down. Like, there are moments where you see Henry Cejudo and you see where that background shines the most. And I think Henry is clearly the better wrestler in this matchup. The thing is, Henry's last outing was a tough outing. It was a tough first fight to come back to. Your first fight after a few years off, you're coming back to a champion like Aljamain Sterling. That's a tough fight to come back to. But this one is the fight that I feel like he should have came back to. This, like I said, stylistically makes sense. It's a fun fight for the fans. The thing about it is, like I said, Henry's got better wrestling. I think Henry's got better striking, and I also think Henry's got better IQ. The thing about Merab is every time you expect Merab to lose, that's the fight he wins. He's going to shoot. We already know Merab's going to shoot. He's going to shoot plenty enough times. Bro, it's going to be endless shots. It's going to be endless shots. It's going to be like a freaking frat girl turning 21 years old. Or sorority girl turning 21 years old. Frat guy turning 21 years old. Bro, I'm telling you, shots. The man's going to be shooting. Shoot. He's shooting all night long. That's what he does. That's what Merab does. Merab shoots. He clinches. His striking's nothing crazy. It's nothing that where you're like, oh man, his striking has got so fantastic that nobody can stand with him. No, it's nothing like that. I think Merab is a fantastic fighter. I think Merab has the ability to get this fight in his favor, to get the win, whether it's decision, whether it's a finish. I think he can do it, but I'm leaning with Henry Cejudo. Like I said, I think the better wrestling and the IQ, if he can outlast Merab and find different ways to be Henry Cejudo. And Henry's got to be more aggressive in this fight. He's got to be more aggressive. Henry's got to be the one leading the dance. Do not let Merab get a chance to lead the dance. It takes a whole different vibe when Merab is the one who has the pace set. So Henry's got to set the pace, lead the dance, be aggressive. But I'm leaning Henry Cejudo for this one. And looks like he is a favorite. He is a minus 218 favorite. So there's that. These are my predictions. So far we got Roman Kopylov, Henry Cejudo. Lock them in. Lock them in. Okay. Next fight, we got Jeff Neal and Ian Gary. This fight has been one that was meant to happen a while back. Ended up getting canceled because Jeff Neal, whatever, had to pull out for some sickness. But we are finally here. We're getting the fight that people wanted. I wanted this fight. I'm sure you guys did too. It makes sense in a division when you have a guy like Ian Gary on the come up and you have a guy like Jeff Neal, who's not necessarily a gatekeeper. He is the true definition of that motherfucker in the top 10, right? He's the toughest dude in the division in terms of he's powerful. He poses a threat in every aspect. So if you can get past him, then you really are the truth. But if Jeff Neal knocks you out, we wouldn't be surprised. Now, a lot of shit with Ian Gary. I can sit on the Ian Gary stuff, go back and forth and try to make jokes and have fun with it, all that kind of stuff. But we are focused here on the fight. Now, Ian Gary is a fantastic fighter. He didn't, in my opinion, have the best performance against Neil Magny. But in his past performance, I see the man is a fantastic fighter, right? He is very good from the outside. He has good long-rangey striking, right? His ability to stay on the outside, make you miss and counter is exactly what can lead him to victory against Jeff Neal. Now, if he does that, good for him. If he can do that. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Because what Jeff Neal has to do is close that distance, right? Work the body and shoot the left. I promise you shoot the left because the left hand is open. A lot of people have been breaking it down lately and showing where Ian Gary is vulnerable for a left hand shot. And Jeff Neal is not the guy you want to get caught with a left hand shot. Jeff's going to go in this fight with a bad attitude, right? Not a bad attitude in terms of like, oh man, you got a bad attitude. I'm talking about like bad. Like he's going in there with bad intentions, especially with a lot of the shit with Ian Gary that's going on with just the MMA world in general. And the fact that Ian Gary was the first one to really poke the bear with Jeff Neal with the mugshot and stuff like that. So that's going to be an exciting fight. That's going to be a back and forth fight. Possibly. I might be wrong about that, but I think it could be a back and forth fight because you got a guy who's a slugger on one side and a guy who, like I said, is going to need to make him miss and counter. He cannot get drawn into a slugfest. And do not sleep on his clinch. Do not sleep on clinching with Jeff Neal. He is strong. He is very strong. He's very durable. So the thing with that fight is don't sleep on Jeff Neal. Who am I going with? I'm going with Jeff Neal. That's my prediction. I'm going with Jeff Neal. We're going with the underdog. Let's see, what was it? What's his number? Jeff Neal's a plus 190. So I knew he was gonna come in as an underdog. I didn't think it was gonna be super big, but decent enough size. But I think Jeff Neal is a good pick because just the aggressive style that he brings. Like I said, Ian's got to make him miss. Ian's got to be a little bit more perfect than Jeff has. Jeff can handle getting in a firefight. Can Ian? Guess we'll find out, right? So, to the big dog breakdown, we must go, right? This is it. This is the big dog breakdown because we are in the co-main and main event. Co-main event. Beautiful matchup. Can't believe it's actually happening. Knock on wood. Let's hope we get it. Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. Now, we know Robert. We know that boy Robert. He is the Reaper. And Paulo Costa, supposedly the eraser. Yeah, he's the eraser of making it to a fight. I'm just hoping my man makes it to this fight because we need this fight to go through. Because that's a beautiful co-main event, for being honest, right? So, Rob Whittaker, not coming off the greatest last fight. Lost to Dricus du Plessis. Not in the best way either. Paulo Costa, haven't seen him since Luke Rockhold. You're losing that hype that was behind him. But we're here to break this one down. Let's break it down. Let's really get into this, right? My thing about this fight, Rob has to stay aggressive. Rob has to stay aggressive. Rob has to mix it up. Rob has to make him guess. Rob has to be a great version of himself. Rob has to be that version of himself that we saw against Jared Cannonier. I think that style of Rob right there is the perfect style to come through and beat Paulo Costa. Now, I think Rob has to drag this fight out, right? Like I say, mix it up and drag this fight out. I think that's the best thing to do because Paulo Costa has had a long layoff, right? And not only that, you're going up against Rob Whittaker. You're not going up against an easy matchup. You're not going up against a quick matchup to kind of snap you back in. No, you're going up against Rob Whittaker, an angry Rob Whittaker who's coming off of a big loss, right? So I think it's a very, very tough matchup for Paulo Costa. What does Paulo Costa have to do in this fight to win? Paulo's got to pressure him right in the beginning, right in the first round. Do exactly what he does. Pressure him in the first round because that's his best bet. It just truly is his best bet. His best chance of winning is getting a first round finish. Pressuring Rob to not let Rob get comfortable. Because when Rob gets comfortable at his own range and his own pace and he sets his own timing, his distance, everything is just on point with Rob, man. And when he gets comfortable, he is just on point. I think Rob can work the leg kicks, his little like push side leg kicks that he throws. Those oblique style ones kind of. He throws them a little bit lower than that, but he throws those kicks. I think he should work some of those. He should work some body work. Stay bouncing. I think just the one thing is he can't, there's a lot of times he comes in like with these over the top shots and he gets countered. I think it's worse when he goes against southpaws, but I think going against Paulo Costa he might have a chance. But Paulo's got a nice left hook, man. He really does. He's got a nice left hook and he's got a nice 1-2-3. So you've got to watch out for the powerfulness of Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is going to have to try to outpower Robert Whittaker. because I would assume that he is the stronger man in this one. But we know who the better fighter is overall, is Robert Whittaker. We've seen the best version of Robert many times. I want to continue to see the best version of Rob Whittaker, right? Paulo Costa has left me hanging way too many times. But I'm not going to be biased. I'm not trying to be biased. But I got my boy Rob in this one. That's my prediction. I'm rocking with Rob in this one. I think overall, if Rob can stretch this out and make this something where Paulo has to work more than he expected, I think Rob can get this done. Moving on to the main event, and you see it here, folks. I was about to say Volks. I went to say folks, and I was about to say Volks. No wagon. Alexander Volkanovski defending that 145-pound strap against Ilia Topuria. Can he do it? I think so. Absolutely. This is pound for pound one of the best in the world. How can you argue it? How can you say that he can't get it done? I'll say that this is the toughest one, though. Without a doubt, the toughest one. And we always say that. We always get to that point where we're talking about a champion who's getting, an opponent where you're like, oh, this is the one. This is the guy. This truly might be that guy. This might be the Conor McGregor to Jose Aldo type of situation. You got a guy who is extremely, extremely confident, undefeated in Ilia Topuria, has phenomenal boxing. Hasn't even thrown a leg kick or a body kick or a head kick at all in his UFC career. Has fantastic jiu-jitsu. Got a good submission game and everything around the ground game. The man is that kind of next generation coming up of fighters, right? And I see him pose a lot of problems for Alexander Volkanovski. Do I think he can do it? Yes. Do I think Volk is going to get knocked out or something like that? No. It's a tough one. No, it is a tough one when you're coming off of your last fight was a KO loss and it was just a few months ago. It is tough, but my overall look at this, my overall breakdown, right? If you look at the skill set that Alexander Volkanovski has in every single fight, he has fought every style of fighter you can fight. The wrestler, the striker, right? The fast guy, the strong guy. He's fought it all. Right, he's been in there with everybody he can be in there in the 145-pound division that's got a different style and different ways, different things for him to look at, right? But the power of Ilia and Ilia being short, not like as short as Alex, but shorter, right? Shorter than most of Alex's opponents. I think this makes a big difference, right? He stays in the pocket. He works the body more than anybody I've ever seen. His body shots are beautiful. He tends to throw punches. I've noticed a lot, right? Where he will throw, like he did it to, I think he did it to Josh Emmett. Either did it to Josh or Bryce Mitchell. He threw a 1-2 down the middle, right? And you saw the 1-2. He overextended on the right? And a lot of times when these fighters overextend, they overextend and leave themselves completely open for the counter. But the way he planted his foot placement, the balance and everything, he overthrew it and came back with the left perfectly. And he had it so torqued up. It was just... And then he followed up with, I think, with an overhand right after that. Like he throws 4-punch combinations, 5-punch combinations. A lot of these guys don't do that. You watch a fight like Drakus and Shawn. Did you see any 4 or 5-punch combinations? Not really. Not really. This man throwing multiple punch combinations, I think can also pose a threat to Volk. Now here's where I think Volk can do very well. Volk's movement is unlike any others in the division. All these other guys stood right in front of Ilia Topuria, right dead smack in front of him, allowed him to get the boxing off, allowed him to work the body and do the skill striking that he has, right? Volk's lateral movement, I always talk about this in every fight, his lateral movement back and forth. He moves so much. Jab, leg kick, move, jab, leg kick, move. He's always keeping you guessing on where he's going to be. He resets a lot, right? It reminds me, I always compare him with Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen does it very well too. Does a lot with lateral movement, the back and forth, right? It freezes your opponents, right? You can watch that with Corey versus Cheeto Vera. It freezes your opponents, and I think that can help Volk very much in this fight. And then Volk's leg kicks. You haven't seen anybody press Aaliyah on leg kicks. I mean, he fought Ryan Hall, who wasn't throwing anything at all except diving. He was just like literally diving and rolling and hoping he can get a leg for a takedown. He fought Jai Herbert, who really didn't pose much of a threat on the leg kicks to begin with. He fought Bryce Mitchell, who didn't throw any leg kicks. Josh Emmett throws great leg kicks. May have abandoned him if I do remember correctly. I think he abandoned him. But Volk doesn't. Volk works the leg kicks. He does well. I think Volk needs to not get overconfident in any section of the game. Stay to what he knows best and do his thing. Work, just his skill set, all of his skill set. Put everything together, man. Mix it up. You move this way, snap the leg kick. Move back this way, jab, leg kick, shoot. All of a sudden, just do not let Aaliyah get comfortable in range with his striking where he can do what he does best. Because he's powerful and his boxing is probably the best in that division besides Max Holloway. I would love to see those two go at it, but his boxing is beautiful, right? It's crisp. It's very crisp, and like I said, a lot of combinations. Who am I leaning with for the win on this one? I'm going with Alexander Volkanovski. The reason I'm going with Volk is because I just think that he's going to be able to make the proper adjustments to get it done. Now, if Aaliyah does land heavy continuously, the whole route of that fight can change. But right now I am leaning with Alexander Volkanovski. I didn't write down what the odds for that fight was. I don't know why I didn't write it down. I could pull it up here real quick just to see. And I forgot to mention the Rob Whittaker one he's a minus 250 favorite, as he should be, respectfully. But Alex is a plus 120 underdog. Or no, sorry, I'm reading the point spread. The money line, he is a minus 125 favorite. So I'm rocking with Alexander Volkanovski. I'm rocking with the favorite. UFC 298 it is. I can't wait. I can't wait for Saturday, man. I am excited. I know you guys are excited as well. And I will catch you for the, for that post-fight, that review. You know how it goes. I appreciate you guys for watching these videos. I know I'm not the most active, but I make sure I try to come through for every big card that happens. I just got to come through for those free ones too. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode comes out. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy's out. Peace.